Then Browns legend Bernie Kosar joining us live here. What's up, bud?
Hey, guys. Good to be with you today. It's a little cooler, so a little more enjoyable out here.
This is where we needed to be.
Yeah, much better than
that
earlier
94
in the week.
degree
Much better.
stuff from
Yeah.
Monday was for the birds.
It was good to build some callus for our football team.
That's true.
And for the first time also in Coach Kevin's tenure as a coach, having some live hitting. And it's kind of been an anomaly throughout the NFL and stuff. And to kind of get through it without, although the MJ Emerson injury was so tragic, but that was a non-contact injury. To get through a couple days of hitting without any aggressive injuries was, I think, going to pay dividends for the team. And you saw it a little bit today in practice where finally the offensive line, we're getting some running plays to where he looks somewhat consistent in the offense.
So which part of the team is it most important to get those hits in before you get to the regular season? Is it the O-line?
So I think that from the O-line perspective, the D-line, the tackling side of it, it's a big part of it. But also, too, just about everybody, you really kind of need a little bit of that contact and a little bit of the callus, the hardening of the body to get a little bit accustomed to it. It's a fine balance, and with the way these guys are so athletic specimens and bluntly so tightly wound with no body fat that unfortunately little injuries sometimes become tragic tears. When I didn't exactly have that type of muscle mass, so I didn't have muscles to tear like that.
Me neither. I'm remarkably healthy because I'm not tightly wound at all.
All right, so give me your first impressions of some of the new people around. We know you know about Joe Flacco. We all know about Flacco. But what have you thought about Kenny Pickett? And then take us to Dillon Gabriel and then Shedeur Sanders.
So I'm going to sound like I'm being on the fence and nice about all of them. And I am. And it's not just to be nice, and it's not to be politically right. And again, it's going to sound like I'm a homer on the Coach Stefanski marketing train, but this offensive, philosophically, whether it's not as sexy as like people think in terms of the spread and running out and going shotgun all the time, but nobody in the NFL is consistently in shotgun all the time anymore. And last year, as much as I love Ken Dorsey and the system and what Deshaun was attempting to do, that lack of personality or the personality of a shotgun spread offense is death. Okay, that is a short-term career killer in the NFL right now. So just that right there, to have this switch to where a running play action game, I think it's going to help the younger quarterbacks. The lack of depth and playmaking at the receiver stuff is an issue. So having a running play action game is going to help the younger quarterbacks. But Kenny Pickett, who came from the bubble screen Matt Canada offense in Pittsburgh that I kind of want to throw up on, I think will benefit from this play action running game type stuff. And although his athleticism isn't known for, I think he'll actually do better in this type system. And he had a winning record in the other one. So those guys are actually handling the system well.
Bernie, have you had a chance to meet the two young quarterbacks, Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders?
Yeah, I did. I've had a chance to meet them, do a couple little interviews with them. I was chuckling with Shedeur about a little known fact. Not proud to say this, but here is this is my 40 years ago. I was the rookie quarterback here at training camp and stuff. And we started a lot earlier. So after a few weeks, we had a night off on like July 30th. And I shot down. Marty gave us a night off. I shot down to Blossom, and it was Huey Lewis in the news. And I had to hustle back for curfew, and I get pulled over to a 125. So I'm like to Shedeur, I'm like, dude, you got nothing on me. And I think I turned out. So for the fans, I'm pretty happy the way I turned out. Okay, so let's give him a chance. I think and I love how he's handling stuff. Notice today we were all out here. He's out here an hour early before stuff.
Beats everyone.
And that's working out type stuff. And and then he's one of the last guys here signing autographs, being nice and that. Dillon Gabriel's picking up the system. I mean, it's fun to watch. I would caution fans, and this started something, a little bit of rub in my Baker Mayfield relationship because I love Baker as a quarterback. But early in his career, I thought the team was going to struggle. So I thought Tyrod Taylor should have been the quarterback. Sacrifice us old veteran guys. Don't dissipate the belief and confidence of a young quarterback. We kill more quarterbacks by putting them in there early and stuff. So to have the veterans play early, especially in September, I think would be very productive for the long-term careers of the team and the young quarterbacks.
So you like that approach with Shedeur, that he's just kind of easing into this whole entire experience, and then if he wins the job, he wins the job. But ideally, I think even maybe Shedeur would tell you this, like week 7, week 8, week 9, maybe then get some action.
Yeah, I love how he's handling himself. And if look at as quarterbacks, I think we all want to play all the time right away.
Mm-hmm.
If you could script a scenario for that, if I'm both of those young guys, that's what I want to play. When the offense is starting to get its act together, when you understand you got 6 to 8 games of defensive film where I could analyze what the defensive coordinators are doing against me, thou won't be surprised. The field starts getting muddy, so the landfill is slowing down the pass rush and stuff. So it makes it very conducive for a younger quarterback then to step in and have success.
Bernie, looking to just there's a phrase that I know I've heard the Browns use a few times when talking about the young quarterbacks, building confidence, right? And being able to do that in practice. How do you do that? If your team, how do you script scenarios in which a young kid like a Shedeur or Dillon Gabriel can build that confidence?
Well, Nick, it's like I came to the production meeting here and we're playing off each other. That's actually the confidence and belief, and that long-winded answer I just gave onto when they should play is a direct correlation to doing that. And it's fundamentally started here in these type practices. So these rotational plays and what appear to be haphazard reps, how you do that is you really structure what plays you give them and at what time of practice. And are you with the first team, the second team, the third team? Because you put me in the third team quarterback reps and the third team talent with the first team defense, throwing 7-step drop back, statistically, that's not going to work out good. So being able to put them in good kind of plays with the right type personnel so that they get positive plays here, not kind of tricking them, kind of demoralizing them, because you could do that too.
So what is it you think that they love about Dillon Gabriel? The concern I have, Bernie, and this has been for as long as football's been around, it feels like, is that you can't win with that short of a quarterback. Russell Wilson has been able to do it, though. When you see someone of that size, but he's got all the talent in the world, at least he did in college, what do you see with Dillon?
So I like the timing of it, his confidence in letting it go. Both Shedeur and him throw the ball incredibly earlier than I did at that point in my career. So his anticipation, usually coming from college, you go right to, I got to see you open. I got to see space. For him to see me and you covered, but knowing you're going to get open and then lead you to it, he has a good ability for that.
So Kevin's got an interesting job. There's a lot of young guys they're trying to develop and get ready to be a big part of their next core, right? And yet, he's got some veterans here that he's trying to keep engaged and trying to help maybe get their next payday, even if it's not here in Cleveland. If you're Kevin, what's the dance like between trying to be as competitive as you can this year while also understanding maybe the quarterback piece of this could come maybe in 2026?
So I think from the player coach perspective, that the 2026 thing's not really part of it, especially on August 1st today. I think that's the date today. Because players, we're not the smartest tools in the toolbox, but we're also not the dullest at times that we allude to. And if you start thinking and showing or cracking the door that 2026 is even thought about, it's smelled out and would not, I think, be positive for anybody here. And I don't get that sense of that, that thinking about that on August 1st and or early part of the season, 2026, the issue. I do think, though, that having only 3 preseason games and figuring out all those young guys and how it intermixes with the veterans and who to keep and what's that actual graph model is harder to do for him with only 3 preseason games.
What would you have done with Myles Garrett and Mason Graham coming at you?
I'd really like this retirement option now of sitting next to you guys. Okay, that you know what, in games like this and in situations like that, especially when you're having trouble blocking guys like that, and you could see early in camp our line had trouble blocking stuff like that. And I'm not picking on the line because everybody has trouble with Myles Garrett and Mason Graham with that type of speed and quickness that he's also showing there. I truthfully would do 13 and 12 personnel. You have to kind of slow that down. And I actually have that in my head for Trey Hendrickson early in the year. So like those type things, you don't, it's still not the ultimate catch-all because life is hell for the 3 hours you're playing those type humans, but you'd have to go at them. And it's a family show on a Friday here, but you go with physical violence and being bigger guys right back at them and, hope for the best.
So from physical violence to the preseason, I'm curious. So I don't want to see the older vets in the preseason at all, and that includes Joe Flacco, because I'm not as concerned about week 1. I'm more concerned about week 10 and week 11 and week 13. I'm curious, how much do you think just the starters should play in the preseason this year? Because Carolina's playing him in 2 of their 3 games. Since he's going to play Joe Burrow more than ever, how much should the Browns be playing their veterans and including the older guys like Joe Flacco this preseason?
So I think that would be up to like a Joe Flacco, going on is 18th training camp, 40, going to be 41 years old. What does he feel gets him ready to beat the Cincinnati Bengals, on our first game like that? I think September 8th. So I'd kind of be asking him because he's done that, before, but that's really the balance you want to have. And I love that Cincinnati and Zach Taylor, they haven't got it right. They struggle early. So this is the time to get them. And I believe nobody's doing as much physical. And I believe that DeJuan Jones, Harold Fannin, David Njoku, 12 and 13 personnel at those guys in the first game is a recipe for success.
Bernie, you are always so gracious with your time. You're out here giving it to the fans still, to all of us here on Radio Row. You're the best, man. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. You matter.